everybody, I'm Lauren Evanthea and next to me is Des, and we are married and together we present Stranger Than Fiction because truth is stranger than fiction, and it's been a very strange couple of years and we want to bring to you all the kinds of news and activities and things that are going on that is strange.
Well, what do you have planned?
We are discussing something. You remember yesterday's video, I spoke about all of UN's subsidiaries. Did you know that they have an Internet Governance Forum?
This is the United Nations.
The UN, the United Nations, correct.
Okay. An Internet Governance Forum. When I think of the Internet, I think of military, because that's how the Internet was developed originally.
That is how the Internet was born, for military, for power,
for control. etc. Yes.
So what do you think of as soon as you hear the phrase Internet Governance Forum? Put it in the comments below what comes to mind when you hear that phrase. I'm going to talk to you about what they're about, but the reason we're bringing this to you is because currently they're sitting in a meeting that's happening between the 28th of November and the 2nd of December, and they're meeting with various stakeholders and nations across the world. And we'll discuss what's going to be on the agenda. And then when the outcome is finally ready, we'll discuss that too.
So I suppose this will be a very short video to just discuss what's on the agenda, what they'll be discussing. And then we'll delve into
the outcomes. When
yes, when we actually know what they've discussed for our future.
So we'll put the link in the description of the agenda of what is planned, but I'll share with you what they're about. It says the Internet Governance Forum serves to bring people together from various stakeholder groups as equals in discussions on public policy issues relating to the Internet. While there's no negotiated outcome, the IGF informs and inspires those with policy-making power in both the public and private sectors. Now, what does that say to you? A lot of big words thrown around there.
Well, yes, because I'm the public and I have no say in this. So I don't know how equal this is. I mean, they're speaking about equal there. It's fascinating how they would put out an article to make people think that there's equality when me, Joe Soap, sitting at home has absolutely no say. And I don't think they care what I think about what they're doing at all.
Absolutely not. So I'll just finish the about and we'll go into the actual agenda. At the annual meeting, delegates discuss, exchange information and share good practices with each other. The IGF facilitates a common understanding of how to maximize Internet opportunities and address risks and challenges that arise.
Common, and when I hear that word, common
good.
Common good, yes. Once again, people making decisions for us. And what is a common understanding? And what is best practice?
And what is it based on?
Yes. Who decides that?
And which
I always ask these questions. Exactly.
It's very scary. We live in very, very interesting times. And
so what is on the agenda for...
Okay, so this meeting is happening in Ethiopia right now. I think that's quite exciting. This is the 17th IGF that's taking place. So the 17th one.
Did you know that the IGF existed?
I didn't know it existed until 2 days ago, and I didn't know that this was the 17th meeting taking place, meaning 16 meetings have already taken place.
Well, I suppose on Stranger Than Fiction, we'll dig up all these things that is just truth, because it's being put out there. This is not a conspiracy theory, a tinfoil hat idea.
Oh, not at all. Very, very... I think there's 4 agenda items, very short, very briefly described. The first one is connecting all people and safeguarding human rights. Connecting all people and safeguarding human rights.
That's fascinating. You can actually see many things evolving around the world in what is called the internet or the technological space that claims to be looking after human rights, but it's actually control of speech. Or control of thought.
Well, that's
what it looks like to me in any case.
Definitely. And I think the other thing is all people are going to be connected to the internet now. And that is both positive and negative. It brings both advantages and disadvantages. And on one hand, it's great that all people are going to be connected to the internet, because for the first time in the entire history of the world, people will have instant access to all the information out there. But then the downside is that how do humans use the internet? Tell me.
I have a lot of experience with this, and it is frightening to know that certain people that I almost feel like people don't deserve to own a smartphone if they don't have the ability to create it themselves, to have information at your fingertips that you can source, that you cannot comprehend because you haven't put in the effort or the time to actually understand or comprehend what you're looking at. And I've had to put in masses of time, years worth of study and effort to understand things the way that I do. And it doesn't mean that it's 100% correct, but it's my truth, and I've put a lot of effort in. I have seen people literally just searching things because I've asked people, how do you do your research? And they don't look at the pros and the cons. They find whatever it is that serves their interest. And you can never find truth that way. So it is a big concern that on the internet, there's so many people abusing that fact because they know that they literally have access to people that cannot dissect information properly or discern properly. And that can be abused.
It can be abused. That's on one hand, but on the other hand, most people, I think, get sucked into the wormhole that is social media timelines. And so you spend a vast majority of your day, and I've heard scary statistics of the amount of hours people spend watching videos on TikTok or YouTube. And I think what we're going to see is this global population of people addicted to that dopamine hit. Well, I believe it's a bit more complex than that, but addicted to that instant high they get scrolling on social media and posting things. That although we have access to all the information in the world, people are going to use that power rather just to entertain themselves. And so you're going to have a dumbed down population addicted to the internet who would rather die than not have access to data.
But I think you can also control what people end up seeing. So
with algorithms,
yes, with algorithms, you can bias them in many different ways. And in the end, you can actually push certain information towards certain people. And that is why I believe education is key. Teaching people how to discern information, teaching people how to do proper research. And we will be doing that in workshops that'll come around in future, and you can look out for those announcements.
Yes, we'll be announcing those soon, but I think what's important here with connecting all people to the internet, I don't think that is something that can be avoided. It's inevitable.
No, I agree.
But what's stranger than fiction is that we have all the information in the world at the click of a button, yet we choose to rather watch cat videos. And with all the information...
Cute. I mean, I've done that with the kids, and it's absolutely... there's nothing better than seeing a cat, seeing a cucumber, and seeing their response.
Look how distracted you are already.
Yes, distracted.
But with all the information...
I apologize.
With all the information at our fingertips, we are probably the generation, the internet generation, that has the least amount of common sense, the least ability to discern truth from fiction, and the least wisdom. And so we're moving into this funny era where we can literally research anything, but we choose to remain dumb. And I just say this collectively.
How dumb am I when I just watch fishing videos to relax?
Well, it's vegetating, and it's just proof that the system that you live in is not filling your soul.
Yeah,
that's simple.
But that's why I started fishing myself.
Exactly.
That's actually what people should do, is try and live out
Get into nature
that they experience on the internet and actually go and do it themselves. Get out there.
The work that we do requires us to be on the computer.
A lot.
But I've really been trying to make an effort to stay off of the phone as much as possible for personal reasons. So
I don't scroll timelines.
You don't?
I haven't done it for years. I used to, and it is addictive. And I think especially short videos are made now to draw people in.
Absolutely.
Because you can go to YouTube Shorts. TikTok I haven't spent much time on because it's just brainless. But you can get stuck there because the algorithms is already looking at your mind. And I'm sure these are things that are discussed at this conference. What else is on the agenda?
Before we get there, just one thing. I watched a TED Talk that it takes 10,000 hours, or is it 10 hours, to get good at a specific skill. So I just
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours. Yes. And I just find it interesting how much time we spend on the internet versus the fact that we could be using that time to get good at something. But next on the agenda is avoiding internet fragmentation. Avoiding internet fragmentation. What on earth does
that
mean?
sounds like a central control to me.
I think you're about right. A core value of the IGF is the maintenance of an open, free, and interoperable internet. This implies that the entirety of the internet's content is open and free to users, and that common technical standards and protocols continue to be deployed to achieve a network of interconnected networks across countries and regions. This call, applying a framework to the internet that prioritizes the rights and freedoms of users as well as and through infrastructural end-to-end coherence, has been echoed in the GDC. So what does this actually mean?
Well, I think we can dissect that once they actually say what they've come up with.
So these are just topics they're going to be discussing. Next is governing, and this one I find the most interesting, governing data and protecting privacy. And just listen to this very first
Governing,
sentence.
it sounds frightening actually.
Governing data.
Yeah. I mean, normally people that govern get elected, and people might not agree with that method. However, who is allowed to govern here and who decided who they may be? This is fascinating.
It says here, data is the key resource of the globalized digital age. Just let that sentence dwell in your mind. Data is the key resource in the globalized digital age. And in fact, in 21 Lessons of the 21st Century by Noah Yuval Harari, he says that data is the new currency, in a sense, in this new global world that we are moving into. Its movement drives economies. So the movement of data drives economies, and its analysis, particularly big data analytics, has been the basis for remarkable innovations across disciplines from finance to health and law enforcement. And law enforcement. No, thank you. So there's a lot of reading to do. I'll share the link below. I want to move on to the next two item agendas. Number 4 is enabling, and this is also a scary one, enabling safety, security, and accountability. And this
accountability or
censorship.
Yes.
This is censorship, big time censorship. The security of the internet is under threat in a number of ways from various actors. Traditional cybersecurity deals with the protection of networks, devices, and data from unauthorized access or criminal use. This encompasses the ongoing problem of cyber attacks, whether they are perpetrated by individuals or state-sanctioned, and whether the targets are civic, commercial, or governmental, and which so far has been compounded by the absence of broad and binding cybersecurity agreements. So, yes, I'm very much looking forward to the outcome of the meeting pertaining to this as well.
Yeah, I see something about the COVID-19 pandemic there, and I suppose we can cover that when we actually do a follow-up on this.
Well, it speaks about COVID and what's happened the last few years. This has made clear the need for accountability criteria for misleading content.
Okay.
So this worries me because I believe that you should get as much information as possible. Then it's up to the individual to judge that information and process that information and make decisions on that information.
Fully agree.
It's up to the individual. If the individual wants to be stupid with a whole bunch of information, then it's on that individual.
Yeah, and then they must suffer the consequences.
Absolutely.
That's what freedom is all about.
And if you're willing to fall for scams, if you're willing to fall for
must suffer.
Misinformation, that's your problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Addressing advanced technologies, including artificial intelligence. This is number 5. And I've had people tell me there's no such thing as artificial intelligence, and I'm not quite sure what they're trying to get at when it's something that's even been discussed at this level with the internet.
Very real, has been for a very long time. And yes, people need to consider how artificial they are in how they use their intellect themselves.
So this one also another red flag. Advanced digital technologies increasingly shape our economy and society, from artificial intelligence systems which guide our online experiences, power smart devices, and influence our own decisions as well as decisions others take about us.
That is, oh goodness.
To robotics and Internet of Things applications which are deployed in areas as diverse as manufacturing, healthcare, and agriculture.
We certainly have to cover fifth generation, sixth, seventh, and eighth generation technology in future.
They go on to specify the bias of algorithms, which I think is very relevant, and I'm so interested to see what the outcomes. But that is basically the agenda of the meeting that's taking place right now in Ethiopia. And I'm looking forward to see what the results are. Looking forward, not that I believe it's going to be positive for humanity, but looking forward to see what comes of it, and then we need to respond accordingly.
Yeah, and we will report on that and give people our insight and thoughts. And this is truly stranger than fiction. And this is truth. This is what's happening right now. Truth is stranger than fiction, and the future is certainly stranger than fiction.
Please put in the comments what you think of the meeting taking place. What do you think of the points that we just mentioned? How do you feel about the internet, pros versus cons, advantages versus disadvantages? How has the internet benefited you, and how has it disadvantaged you? Let us know in the comments, and we look forward to bringing you more Stranger Than Fiction in the next video.
And if you like content like this, please subscribe to this channel. Click the bell icon so that you can get notifications for future videos, and please share this with your friends and family.